So you've finally decided to put a ring on your favourite girl or guy's finger. You're all excited about presenting them with their own rare and timeless diamond, until you see the price tag. $4,000 for the average ring. How could something so small cost so much? Let's find out. The first time a diamond engagement ring appears in history is 1477, when Archduke Maximilian of Austria, being the fancy fellow that he was, proposed to Mary of Burgundy with a diamond ring. This was the exception, however, and up until modern times, diamond rings were extremely rare. Diamonds themselves were hardly ever found, only turning up in India and Brazil, and global production was only a few pounds a year. This all changed in 1867, when a single diamond discovered in South Africa sparked a rush that would have miners scooping diamonds out of the earth by the ton. One of the most successful of these miners was English businessman Cecil Rhodes, a man that would later go on to have the lovely country of Rhodesia named after him. Cecil was a wee bit of a racist that believed that the Anglo-Saxons were the first race of the world and the African natives would make a great subject race. Cecil started buying up as many diamond mines as he could in South Africa. Eventually he started a company to manage everything he bought, De Beers Mining Company. By 1887 it was the sole owner of all South African diamond mines. De Beers realised that it was in a bit of a pickle, however. Diamonds were only ever expensive because they were rare, and now that tons upon tons of them were just lying in the dirt in South Africa, the price was surely going to plummet. They started stockpiling massive amounts of diamonds and only releasing small batches on the market in order to create rarity. By the time that Cecil died in 1902, De Beers controlled 90% of the world's rough diamond production and distribution. After the death of Cecil, Ernest Oppenheimer, a man that owned the majority of South African gold mines, bought a controlling stock of De Beers. Oppenheimer set up a bunch of different companies and systems to increase De Beers' control of the diamond industry. Simply put, he made it so that anyone that wanted to sell diamonds had to go through De Beers. They acted as the only channel for the diamond trade, regulating the stock and pricing for the entire market. De Beers would force sellers to buy their diamonds at insane prices under the threat of never being offered the chance to purchase diamonds ever again. Under this system, De Beers was able to drive up the price of diamonds and maintain an artificial scarcity. Side note, De Beers paid white immigrant miners much higher wages compared to the African counterparts, who were paid 1/9 a wage. Before World War II, 10% of engagement rings contained a diamond. By the end of the century, over 80% would. So, how did De Beers do this? Well, firstly, Henry, the son of Ernest, travelled to the United States in 1938 to meet with an advertising agency, NWA, to convince Americans who were seen as the next big market that diamonds equals love. NWA wanted to create a situation where almost every person pledging marriage feels compelled to acquire a diamond engagement ring. They started to plaster diamonds across America, touting them as the traditional symbol of love and marriage. Placement in films and music cemented in the American psyche, diamond rings were the only acceptable way to propose. We spread the word of diamonds worn by stars on screen of stage, by wives and daughters of political leaders, by any woman who can make the grocer's wife and the mechanic's sweetheart say, "I wish I had what she has." De Beers also sent speakers out to schools across the United States to really ram the idea of diamonds into young and impressionable skulls, because apparently America was okay with that kind of thing at the time. The campaign culminated in 1947 with the ultimate tagline, "A diamond is forever," probably the most successful slogan of the 20th century, that fully embedded the diamond ring in American culture. After the diamond ring had been fully accepted by the American public, De Beers decided to internationalize it in the mid-1960s. The prime targets were Japan, Germany and Brazil. Within 14 years, De Beers had created a $1 billion industry in Japan. Marriage in Japan did not have a tradition of being based on love. They were usually arranged and practical. It had been this way for thousands of years. De Beers began an ad campaign that associated diamond rings with Western values. By the time the campaign started in 1967, under 5% of engagement rings in Japan were diamond. By 1981, it was 60%. De Beers had managed to change a 1,000-year-old tradition in 14 years. Japan became the second largest consumer of diamond rings after the US. The diamond ring was established internationally as the symbol of love. De Beers also established the idea that diamonds are forever, which anyone that attempted to sell their diamond soon found out. Most jewelers would not accept it or would offer between 20 and 40% of the paid for amount. The reason for this is because diamond rings are the second most owned item after television sets in the US. Children come in third place. De Beers needed diamonds to be impossible to resell, because except for the very few stones that have been destroyed, every single diamond that's ever been mined in history still exists today. On millions of fingers across the globe, there sits an estimated 500 million carats of diamonds. If the public were ever to begin to put these rings back into circulation, the price would no longer be able to be maintained and the market would crash. In order to keep up the ruse that diamonds are rare and inherently expensive, they have to be forever. Up until very recently, De Beers was the only name in the diamond industry. However, after large diamond deposits were discovered in Russia and Australia, and those countries refusing to take part in De Beers' monopoly, diamond trade has opened up quite a bit. So why are diamonds expensive? Because someone said so.